begin. What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB First Look podcast. I'm your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And today we got a short slate. It's Wednesday, 5 games on the main starting 20 minutes earlier than usual at 6:40 p.m. Eastern, thanks to Seattle. It's a day game for them. They're in the West Coast, you know. Anyway, for those subscribed to wisetake.com, I will be writing an early slate article. If you have access to either the All Sports or the MLB packages, you will get access to the article, and that's going to be the slate that I personally go the heaviest on. That's going to be my main slate tomorrow, as it is my anniversary tomorrow with my wife and I. So my wife and I will be doing anniversary type stuff, you know, the romance, all that goodness, in the evening, and I am going to be slamming the early slate in the morning. So make sure you get over there and don't miss that. Anyway, looking at this 5-game slate. Starting off with cash games as we normally do, I think Erod probably makes the cut. After that, I think it's kind of in between Gallen and Paxton. Lucchesi is certainly an option, but I don't know. I just feel like Gallen and Paxton may have more strikeout upside, but Lucchesi should be considered, and he's the cheapest one. So he'll be the easiest one to build a team around. So I shouldn't, discredit that. I think it's viable, but I think Gallen's good. What I'm worried about as far as cash games with Gallen is it's the first time with a new team, and he's a very, very young pitcher. So I think the opponent's fine. Philly's been kind of bad for the most part, so I think the opponent's fine, but maybe we're reserving for tournaments. Paxton did well against against Boston, but looked kind of broke before that. Granted, this is Baltimore, but it's also in Baltimore. So I guess Lucchesi, you can definitely make a case for with the park. His floor has been a little lower than you'd like. But this is Seattle, who is missing Tim Beckham thanks to the PED suspension, one of their better left-handed hitters. Hitters against lefties, I should say. I personally feel the most comfortable with Gallen. It is expensive. It's a lot of money to dedicate, but it's a small slate. We could probably make it work. I think Lucchesi and Paxton are both acceptable. Curious to see where the field goes in cash tomorrow. I'm sure tomorrow things will look a little bit more clear for us. But Erod seems like the definite cash game play. In tournaments, I think you certainly can fade Erod. If Erod is chalk, I never really like to play Erod chalk in tournaments. So I know Kansas City is not a very good team, and they've struggled most of the year against lefties, but I'm just not big on Erod as chalk. There are other variables we have to look into, such as umpires, other things like that. But for now, I'm looking like, on a first look, I'm like, all right, I'm playing him in cash, probably going to fade him in tournaments, or at least go underweight, so to speak. Gallen's my favorite tournament option. Again, there is risk, but that's why I think he's a fit tournament option. This is the highest price he's been in ever. This is like a super high price increase, but maybe that lowers his ownership a drop. I don't know. Very curious as to why Miami gave him up. I don't really understand that. I don't think I will. He's looked pretty damn good so far. Granted, some of the teams he did the dirty to, like the White Sox, for instance, it's like, come on. But he was impressive even against the Dodgers. Granted, 15 ain't going to cut it today at 9-2. But Philly does strike out a lot. Arizona's been a fairly pitcher-friendly ballpark with that roof closed, which it's supposed to be closed, so I'm fine with it to drop 7s on it. Can we get any lower with the SP2s? It's tough, man. Kikuchi's been terrible. You can maybe make a case for John Means. The Yankees have been kind of hot. But we've seen Means kind of troll in these kind of situations, and he's only 6'7", so he's got some sort of upside. I just don't like picking on the Yankees, especially the Baltimore's particularly fucked when it comes to the Yankees, because their ballpark is probably the only thing that's worse than playing the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. It's playing them in Baltimore. So, I don't know. Pomeranz has the PO on him. I guess he's only been pitching 1 inning, so they kind of have him as the opener, which sucks because He could have been an option against the Pirates, who've been bad against lefties recently. Jason Vargas, like, he's been solid. His price is up to 8K. Every bone in my body tells me to attack this guy, though. And I don't know. Maybe I'll just never learn, but Arizona has been very good against lefties this season. Ketel Marte comes to mind. I just can't do it. So it kind of circles me back to these same guys. I think Williams, depending on the lineup, maybe. I think that like fading Erod is probably the bold move I would do, right? Like go Gallen, Lucchesi, or Gallen, Paxton, something like that, right? And Lucchesi kind of I feel like a fish a little bit because Lamet like had like a no hitter going through 6 innings, but I don't know. For now, it kind of makes sense to me from a tournament perspective. Gallen, Lucchesi type deal, because I just can't see myself playing these cheaper dudes like. At least not as of now. Like Kikuchi, I think it's just awful. It is the Padres, but Kikuchi is just, it's been terrible. Kikuchi. With that said, I think going into some of the offenses, I do think the Padres are kind of interesting. Kind of get them involved in this conversation. Kikuchi's bad, and the Seattle bullpen has given up like, I think one of, if not the most home runs in the second half of the season since the All-Star break. So I do think that guys like Tatis, Machado is very cheap again. Renfroe, who smashes lefties, are very interesting. If you can make the 5-man work, I think you do. Will Myers is cheap. So this is an affordable stack that should fit. Like Tatis may be hard to jam in there. I think you try your best to make that work anyway. But just kind of quickly going through, coming through here, hypothetically, if Kinsler or Urias plays, you're still fine. They're both really cheap. So for this example, I'll just use Kinsler because he's more expensive. But hypothetically, if I have 5 Padres and Kinsler, Machado, Tatis, Renfroe, Myers, and you could substitute in Margot, whatever you want to do. I just kind of quickly grab some people. Then we went with the Gallen Lucchesi combo. We're still pretty comfortable, 39.66. So you find yourself one more value play, and you could probably get one. Maybe not full stud, but medium type stud. Or you can go 2 values and then you can get your stud. But it depends on what opens up tomorrow. But it doesn't put you in a bad position for tournaments. Like Seattle is definitely, the Padres, I keep fucking it up. The Padres are on the table for that. Arizona, I had mentioned having interest in. The problem is they're a little more expensive. Well, it looks like some of their prices have come down, right? Like Nick Ahmed is a guy I like to play in Arizona against lefties. He's good against lefties. People don't play him a ton because he bats near the bottom of the order and he's not very good against righties. So him and Kelly kind of come to mind, kind of backdooring the Arizona thing. Ketel Marte, I can't not play him. He's the expensive dude. I wonder if we see Tomas. Oh no, he was outrighted to AAA. After spending a week in the majors. He got sent back down. What a shame. 3,400, that would have been nice. But I guess you got Adam Jones we can use, and then, or actually, no, you wouldn't even probably want to do that at first. First of all, you want Escobar, then you probably want Christian Walker. And yeah, 3,600. So the pricing for the hitters seems like they were lowered a little bit because Arizona was very expensive today. I'm sure Boston, here's the real test, Boston, right? Devers 5.6. So Boston is still very, very expensive. They get Sparkman. Boston should be the chalky offense on the slate, I would think, against Sparkman. Sparkman, I believe, has been terrible. Yeah, pretty bad. He's given up 1 home run against Minnesota, but 6 earned, 8 earned, 4 earned, 3 home runs against Cleveland, 2 against Cleveland. So ever since that dominant outing against the White Sox, which we all knew was kind of freakish, it was just the White Sox. They were just super cold. But he's come back down to earth pretty hard since then. So Boston has been cold, though. So if you do want to fade them for ownership on a 5-game slate, I think it makes sense. And they're going to be hard to do with the pitching. So I think we're going to find out tomorrow. If there's a trendy cheap pitcher that ends up being somewhat popular, then people are trying to play Boston. But if not, then people may ignore Boston as a stack. And I know they've been cold. I played Junis today, and it worked out. Oh, he worked out. Indians. Rainouts. Anyway. I think Sparkman is worse than Junis significantly. So I wouldn't be surprised if Boston at home just did dirty things. So we want to keep an eye on that because if their ownership is going to be low because their prices are expensive, we don't want to let that go unnoted because they are probably in the best actual spot when you consider park, opponent, and everything. And yeah, I think that's it for now. So Boston, I think Boston's optimal. It doesn't always mean they're going to be the chalk. I would think they're going to be the chalk, or at least players from their team will be chalk, even if not. Like the five mans, the full stacks are never that popular. People still just don't love to do it, even though it wins, most of the time. So, yeah, I think that Boston's the optimal. They should be the chalk. But if people get stubborn and, want to pay up at pitching or there's not enough value, we may see a cheaper team, a team that is just easier to stack, become chalk. So keep an eye out on that. I think that's going to do it for this slate breakdown. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. If you haven't checked us out at wisetake.com, make sure you go over there and go see what it is we do. Come join the Wise Take Nation. We are DFS community and DFS content provider. Our goal is to help make you a better player, better DFS player. So yeah, we'll give you some plays, we'll give you some picks, but we're more concerned. We want you to more so pay attention to the actual process, so that you're able to build these teams and contribute back to the community. So come check us out. The NFL package is up. We made a lot of money in NFL last year. We had a sub win. What was it? Be Super Pack, one of our loyal members, on 15G last year, I believe. NFL, pretty exciting. I had an awesome year last year in NFL. I'm super pumped. So you get a chance to get it really, really cheap. The price is going to go up in September, at least some. Right now, you can get the season pass for NFL full season for $100. If you use the right promo code, which is at our Twitter at @wise_take. I think the promo code is Early Owl NFL 2019, but go check our Twitter to be safe. But yeah, prices will go up September 1st, so I recommend you take advantage of this now. Yeah. All right, so top threes. So my top three pitchers right now would be Gallen, Lucchesi, and Paxton. Again, I'm not saying I don't like Erod. I think Erod is kind of like the first big decision you have to make because I expect him to be popular. Paxton's been shaky lately. Gallen is starting with a new team, and he's more expensive than he's ever been. And I think the public views Erod as a better pitcher, and he has been pitching well, let's be real, than Lucchesi. So I expect Erod to be popular, therefore I'm trying to leave him off. Nah, I can't do it. Erod's the third. I was going to say Paxton and get cute, but right now I think Erod. Gallen, Lucchesi, Erod. And then maybe I sub out Lucchesi for Paxton, I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. Top three stacks. So Boston's the optimal, right? I think. Seems that way to me right now. I think the Padres I did like, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks I also like against Vargas. Don't ignore the lefties if you do that. If you end up playing Arizona, you don't have to go crazy heavy with lefties, but don't ignore the lefties because if the stack works and Vargas ends up getting pulled from the game early, Philly's bullpen has been a disaster against left-handed bats. Keep that in mind. That's why I like Marte and Escobar so much because they're switch hitters. Bam, drop sevens on them. Sideways. Dong watch. Ketel Marte obviously is going to be one of these because that's just happening. I think Hunter Renfroe is hitting a home run tomorrow. It's number 2 right there. So Ketel Marte, Hunter Renfroe. Do I do a dirty one? Do I do the dirty, filthy one? Maybe I find that Boston guy. Maybe we find a Boston guy. Let's take a look. Wow. And Benintendi is the most expensive Red Sox with JD Martinez. Mookie Betts is cheaper than Benintendi. That's wild. How would we go with Jackie Bradley Jr.? There you go. A little cheap action. Marte run for JBJ for the dog watch. And that is going to do it. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure the notification bell so you are notified whenever we put out a video on this channel. Do a lot of DFS content. Obviously, we are a DFS community, DFS company. But we also have another podcast that we do release. So far, it's been once a week called the Wise Take Nation podcast, and I recommend you check that out and tell a friend about it. If you like some sports talk, you want to hear some, some Wise Take Nation people talk about sports, talk about the state of sports, etc. You should give it a listen. For myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.